Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to the room. So, we may only have like one puzzle left here. And I've got to figure out like how can I get this type of shape in, I think, this perception. I think that's what we're trying to do. Because there's no spinning these dials anymore. So I think what I'm doing is I'm just trying to change the way I perceive this. I see, because that almost works. Ah, that works right there. It's not quite the same symbol. Well, this is interesting. So we're doing the puzzle again now. Just slightly differently. Alright, fine. There we go. There it goes. So now that we know the trick, I think it will be pretty easy. We just need to see if we can find it. There it is. Double click. Guess we have to do it like this, don't we? Find that match. Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to match it with the background area. Where is it? Where'd it go? I swear I saw it. Let's come back out and see if we can see it here. Yeah, it's right here. Alright, so that shouldn't be too hard. We just now drag it so we line up here. And then we're just trying to rotate this so everything lines up nicely. And we got it. Uh-oh, my lens broke. But I can still see the doorway. Game complete. Unflustered, I hope, as there will surely be sterner tests to come. You have taken to the first step on a longer journey. I see no benefit in hiding the truth truth of your predicament. There's no way back, not for any of us. For now, you are as trapped as I. Press forward with heart, my friend. There are many more rooms ahead. So, all that really means is that there is a room 2 and a room 3. I don't know if there's a room 4. Let's see, so we've done chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and epilogue. If we reset the game, I assume that would just eliminate our progress, and if we click new game, we're just going to go back to this. So nothing super interesting here. So overall, I would say this is a highly polished average puzzle game. There's not a lot here. We finished it in pretty much record time. Here I've only played for 4 minutes. Once you kind of know the solutions, it becomes easy to make a speed run of it and just quickly solve everything that you need to do as we're doing here. This might be a very interesting game to speed run. Let's see. Trying to click on the fire, it's not working. Double click on to focus on the note. Oh, I got I'm all stuck in the tutorial. There we go. As soon as you figure out everything, you've quickly solved the whole game. There's no reason here to play a second time. They could have certainly done more with the lens. There could have been more lenses. You could have explained the lenses. You could have tried several other things. You could have introduced something. No sound or sound puzzles in this game, which for me, I'm alright with that because I don't find that the sound puzzles are usually ever any good. A lot of things like the S's and all of this doesn't really make any sense now. Like all the writings on this outside safe don't make any sense at all. But just quickly speed running through this whole thing. They did have more video elements in it than I thought they would, considering the fact that it's a cell phone port. So I can't really expect that much from a cell phone port, but I kind of wish a game like this was a little bit bigger and a little bit larger. No explanation of what's in the safe below it either. We don't explore that. You could have had branching paths right there. Totally. So doing this second chapter would be a lot more difficult than doing the first one. I almost certainly. And even like the code here that I don't remember what it is, it was like 5, 6, 7. Let's double check. 7, 5, 2, and then down here we weren't even sure what that was. Doesn't look like that would be. I really don't see a reason to play it a second time though, ever in your life. Once you know the solutions, as you see here, I'm not gonna ever find anything else or do anything else. Very quickly I can just run through all of this. So there's no music, there's no characterization really, you just have this mysterious AS guy show up, there's just some puzzles. I found some of the puzzles to be slightly frustrating, or rather frustrating, which is not something I would hope for. Am I supposed to do that? Oh. I must have solved that puzzle without even trying the first time, uh, because I don't even remember having to do that part. Hmm. Hmm. Even on my first try, even having seen almost none of this, I will say maybe I've had seen somebody play this one puzzle. That was it. Everything else went in blind, really easy puzzles, really short game. So I would say this is one of those dollar games. It's one of these games that I got on sale for $1. The one of the problems you'll have with a game like The Room, though, is because it has some name recognition, and because it has name recognition, they might try to charge you $2 or $3 for it, and triple the price of what you really should play. Remember, this was barely a couple hours of entertainment, and now we're completely done with it. There's nothing to do more. So, at 10 minutes, I'm going to shortchange you, really, for this episode. There's nothing we can do more. Let's go ahead and look at the credits. That's one thing we could do. Quit. Quit to the main menu, yes. Let's go ahead and look at the credits and give them the proper credit due. This is made by Fireproof Studios. I don't know what else they've made, but uh, but quite a long list for the number of people. Uh, as far as the number of people that made it, well, not really. If your first group is 20, so it's not one of these independent games made by only one person, but it's pretty much a uh, pretty high, pretty big team of 20 people to make this. Uh, they did some really intelligent things by kind of cheaping out with the visual assets and the audio assets. But there probably should be some background music in this. There probably should be some of it. A major problem with puzzle games in general, both in The Witness and in The Room. Two puzzle games I played recently. The Witness takes many more hours. Uh, but the problem is still the same. Most video game players, including me, have been trained to understand that the uh, that the puzzles of games are the falling action, not the rising action. So when you go and play a puzzle game, there feels like there is no action in it at all. It feels like you're always just free to take your time, which often you are, and there's no real stress to it. And so it's hard to really emotionally intertwine or manipulate the player into liking or feeling a part of the universe. Uh, and that's definitely true at The Room. The Room didn't even try. They gave us this very slight story, but we don't know our backstory. We don't know what we're trying to do besides solve the puzzles. We didn't get rewarded for solving the puzzles. I think that's one of the worst things you could say about this game, besides the fact that it's just short and is probably a little too expensive if you don't get it on sale, is that the second worst thing you could probably say is that it didn't give you a finished story. I would much prefer game creators like Fireproof Studios to make The Room tell you a full and complete story and not try to sell you The Room 2. Or if you're going to tell me The Room 2, it needs to be probably at least a year between the first story and the second story, the first game and the second game being released, and the stories should be complete by themselves anyways. I don't want cell phone games to be micro games or DLC or episodic games. None of those things interest me at all. And this was not a complete story at all. We still don't know what this null element is. I really don't care. It's not that interesting. Is there a puzzle on this? Well, you can play with this, but it doesn't seem like there's anything else you can do with it. They could have put some more work into it. It feels more like the Room 1, 2, and 3 should be one full game. $5 game potentially at most on Steam. Cell phone games are too short in general, and this was too short. But then some of the puzzles were unbalanced too. They could have done some polish on that too. So overall, I'm just left with a slight bit of unsatisfaction. Yeah. Kind of true for The Witness too, because while The Witness had lots and lots of puzzles and took a long time, it failed in very similar ways. It didn't give you any real story. It didn't really have any music, background music to set the mood. It didn't have any characterization of any characters at all, same as The Room. It's kind of a consistent problem with puzzle games. The Witness in particular tried to be like a game called Myst that's very old, and it missed a lot of the story. I didn't mean to make a pun there, but it didn't do all the story that Myst made at all. It didn't do any story, so my love for Myst is way higher than for The Witness or The Room or any other puzzle games. It would be nice if there was some Easter eggs here. I doubt there are. It would be nice if there was a second way to play all the puzzles. Second solutions, second challenges. If you gave me every single puzzle and made me solve it a different way because there was a slight change, that would double the length of this game. So instead of being like a 2-hour and 30-minute game, you could get it up to 5 hours. If you made me solve each puzzle that was presented at 4 different ways at 4 different times, you would get up to a 10-hour game. Very respectable. Potentially, you could sell that for $10. So when you're making a puzzle game, I'd say take your concepts and then simplify them a little bit and make a puzzle out of that. Then take your concept and simplify it a little bit more and make a puzzle out of that. So you have a stair-step action where at the very beginning of the game I'll solve a puzzle, and then I will 30 minutes into the game solve another puzzle that was like the very first puzzle I solved but a little bit more difficult. Not only does that allow you to have more puzzles, but it also allows some feeling that the player is progressing and learning things, and it's a good way to train the player. I would say it's kind of hard to compare this to a game called the Talos Principle Sigils of Elohim. That's a puzzle game that gave you about 100 puzzles that were all very similar. Mostly it's just Tetris pieces being rearranged. But I definitely played Sigils of Elohim a lot more than I've played The Room because of just the number of it. And they had to do less work to make that game than the Room creators had to do to make The Room, because it was just the same thing, better used, more puzzles from the same concept. Every puzzle in this game is practically unique by itself, and it's its own separate concept. I will give them points for not driving me crazy on the music puzzle and making it a simple Simon Says puzzle, because if it had been anything more than that, I would have been very frustrated with it. Well, that's gonna be The Room. I was able to stretch 5 minutes of footage into 20 minutes, and that was my fear. It's always a danger when recording videos and covering them that you will end the game very abruptly, and yeah, that was a pretty abrupt ending. We didn't really know when it was going to end at all. So that's it for this series. As always, I ask you to like this video, share it with your friends, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos because all that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Remember, by clicking on my name Rydo, that takes you to my main YouTube page. There's that playlist tab. You can click that, see all the other games I've covered. I know this has been a short series. A lot of other games I covered go a lot longer than this. And then finally, down below in the description box are all my social media links, so make sure you follow and friend me on Facebook and Google Plus and Tumblr and Twitter, and friend me on Steam and friend me on Battle.net. Let me know in the comments if there's some other service I should be on. Thank you for going through this whole series. Let me know how you felt about the room. Was definitely worth going through it once, but sadly, like most puzzle games, I'll probably never go through it a second time. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.